Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I hope you are all well. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this blessed morning, hoping all of you are in good health. For some of us who are not well, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us with shifa wa tahuran. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to safeguard us all. MashaAllah. Okay, so today, having gone through most of the part for this particular batch of learners with what has to do with the Nahaw, I'm sure by now a lot of you who have been following from the beginning would be aware that we are getting to the end of this particular session. By tomorrow, inshallah, we would have concluded the super intensive Nahaw session, for particularly for those who are already teachers in the field, and hopefully we would have learned something and to take back home, inshallah. Today we will learn more, as I said, about additional things on the major ones that we have learned as of last week, so that we'll just be, adding up and adding on to what we have learned already. So we start by saying, Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk, rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Now, for a quick review or reminder to what we have learned so far, I would like to mention that Nahaw is what we are learning, and Nahaw not in the sense in which we that scares us or make it look as if is a specialist course that some people take and others don't. But what we say is that there is a way I can also understand the Quran directly from the Arabic text, following certain tips that I have also learned. Basically, that is the focus, so that more and more people can associate themselves with Arabic of the Quran, or the language of Al-Quran, as we mention, or as we say here in the academy. That is the language of Al-Quran that we are learning, not Arabic. Yes, it is the Arabic language, but it is more than only Arabic language. The language of Al-Quran is more than just Arabic, because if it was for Arabic, then I'm sure by now, or if it is for the sake of the language itself, I'm sure by now the language would have died, or other language would have sprung from the Arabic language, but the Quran. And so the Quran has maintained the language, and as a result, today we are still, it is still there, that there's something called the classical Arabic. And so, alhamdulillah, our focus must not be shifted. We don't teach the language or speaking of the language itself. What we share is how to understand the different concepts of the language to assist us in direct understanding of Al-Quran. And we have taken so far all the three different levels of the language: the word level, the fragments level, and the sentence level. The last thing we learned with regards to the major subjects is regarding the fi'l and components of jumla fi'liya, and the difference between jumla ismiya and fi'liya, the fact that Jumla Ismiya is more powerful because of the way it can embed Jumla Fa'iliya just by moving the fa'il back to become the mubtada. For instance, when you move the fa'il from its position after the fa'il to before the fa'il, the sentence might look the same, but the strength of the language becomes more. So we did give an example last week of Nasar al-Muslimu and al-Muslimu Nasara. Now, al-Muslimu Nasara, you can find that even though you are saying al-Muslimu Nasara and Nasar al-Muslimu is the same in maybe in your English translation, but in Arabic, when you say al-Muslimu Nasara, we are having two sentences there. Jumla Ismiya with an embedded Jumla Fi'liya, because al-Muslimu is mubtada and Nasara is khabar. But Nasara itself is a sentence where we have the fi'l and the fa'il. So what we say here is that Nasara al-Muslimu is a direct, simple sentence that says the Muslim helped. Okay. But when we say al-Muslimu Nasara, it's literally translated as the Muslim, he helped. The Muslim, he helped. So you can see that the strength of the language there is even more than the one with the first one. The difference here is that the first one is Jumla Fa'liya with a fi'l fa'il maf'ul because it started with a fa'il, and the second one is Jumla Ismiya, which start with an ism. Now, Jumla Ismiya can start with an ism with embedded Jumla Fi'liya, and it can also be only ism as the mubtada, and then the khabar will also be another Muslim. For instance, when you say al-Muslimu salihun, or al-Muslimu mujidun, or al-Muslimu tayyibun, for instance. So you have mubtada, khabar, subject, predicate. That's a normal Jumla al-Ismiya because it started with an ism. Jumla Fi'liya, for instance, when you say Ja al-Muslimu, the Muslim came, for instance. So Ja'a is fi'l, al-Muslimu is fa'il. We also took the relationship between, or say the contents of the Jumla Ismiya and Jumla Fi'liya. We said every Jumla Fi'liya has a fi'l, fa'il, maf'ul, and or we have additional MBFs, that is muta'alliqun bi fi'l, and Jumla Ismiya is made up of mubtada, khabar, and muta'alliq or muta'alliq bi khabar. And the muta'alliq bi khabar, we said it can be jar or majroor, and it can be also zarf, which we call the special mudaf. And Jumla Fi'liya can have muta'alliqun bi fi'l, and that muta'alliq bi fi'l can only be jar or majroor. Now today we are going to, on all these fi'ls that we have been talking about in Jumla Fi'liya, in all the cases that we have taken so far, the fi'l in it is active. When we say active, we mean it's an action with the doer, and the doer is known, either a masculine, feminine, singular, pair, or plural. You can just find the fi'l there, either mustatirun or baris. Now, today we are going to learn a case where the fa'il is not mentioned at all, but the fa'il is there. But in this case, no mention of fa'il and no intention of mentioning the fa'il. Here we say this kind of fa'il is majhul, mabniyun lil majhul, which means it is structured or built with a known or unknown fa'il. The fa'il is unknown. Unknown meaning we don't want to mention the fa'il because of so many reasons, but the fi'il is mentioned, you know. So with this kind of fi'il in which the fa'il is not mentioned, okay, neither inside nor outside. Now note, when I say inside, inside would not necessarily mean it is not mentioned. It is mentioned by looking at the fi'il and then understanding who is the fa'il in there. So when I say the fa'il is inside, doesn't mean it is majhul. Okay, so there's a difference between majhul and mustatir. Mustatir means it is hidden inside, so it is inside. But majhul means it is not known at all. So we are going to look at situations where a fi'il is mentioned, but the fa'il is unknown, majhul, unknown. In this case, we call that fi'il mabniyun lil majhul. The ones we have been learning so far, fi'il madi, mudari, amr, and those ones, in all those instances, those af'al are ma'lum. Ma'lum means active. So we were talking about active fi'ls. Today, we'll look a little bit into passive fi'ls. A very, very peculiar thing about a passive fi'l, as I've said, is that the passive fi'l has its fa'il unknown. Unknown meaning that its mention is not important, or purposely, it is purposely taken off. Now, reasons for taking fa'il purposely taking fa'il off or making it unknown has its eloquent reasons, which we will touch on some of them. Okay, sometimes mentioning it is not important in the sense that in mentioning it, the ayah makes it specific, and so Allah wants to make it open, applicable to all. Then the fa'il is made unknown. And in such cases, we say the fa'il is unknown, not hidden. Okay. So I will take you through this course, and then also we'll look at, of course, some concepts also in addition, inshallah, before we close today's session. So let me share with you my slides for us to look at this kinds of fail. So when we talk about fail, definitely, as I said, we are already in. So we have already, we know exactly where we are in the in our learning. Okay. Okay. So that is today. Today is day number 9. We are doing al-fi'l mabni lil majhul. Al-fi'l al-mabni lil majhul. Passive fi'l. So passive meaning its fa'il is unknown. Majhul al-fa'il. So when we say majhul here, ay majhul al-fa'il. Okay. Now here we say, forget about this chapter, it's taken from another book. That's why it's 6. Here we say that al-fi'l mabni al-majhul. Here in this chapter, we will learn a new type of fi'l called mabni al-majhul. So until this point, we have studied the active fi'l. That's what I said. Mabni lil ma'lum. Normally, when I say fi'l madi, it means mabni lil ma'lum. So by default, every fi'l madi is mabni lil ma'lum. But when we want to go into details, we say there is another one kind of fi'l called mabni lil majhul. Now note, that does not make it, for instance, when I say madi, fi'l madi, and then I say, do you have kinds of madi? No, we can have kinds of the fi'l, okay? Not kinds of madi, for instance. So we say mabni al-ma'lum is active, and that's what we have been learning so far. And we have learned its past, present, command, and forbidden. Of course, anytime you hear future in our context, it means command and forbidden. Now we are going to learn the passive as well, and it also comes in the past, present, command, and forbidden. Okay. Now there is something called transitive and intransitive fi'ls. I'm sure some of you have heard this from Dr. Ali Suleiman Ali 2 days ago when he did mention something about transitive and intransitive. Now, what is transitive and intransitive? A transitive fi'l is called muta'addi, and an intransitive fi'l is called lazim. Okay, so fi'l muta'addi, we have fi'l lazim. Now, so we've already learned what a fi'l is. Is an action word stuck in time, okay, or is a word that has tense, right? Present, past, and future. Now, when we talk about it being muta'addi or lazim, that is transitive or intransitive, it says here that a transitive fi'l is a fi'l that can take a maf'ul bihi. You remember our maf'uls, right? مفعول به, مفعول فيه, مفعول له, مفعول mutlaq, and مفعول al-hal. Now, any fi'l that can take maf'ul, that is detail answering the who, what, where, when of an action, that kind of fi'l, because the action does not affect the doer, okay, but rather affects another action, another object, okay. So we say a transitive fi'l is a fi'l in which the action of the fa'il affects another object, or that means it's transitive. So when I say akala Muhammadu at-ta'ama, the akala fell on ta'am. So the word akala is considered a transitive fi'l. Why? Because it can have an object. But an intransitive fi'l is one which cannot take a maf'ul, because the action affects the doer himself or herself, okay? So for instance, when I say nama, nama means he has slept. The action of sleeping does not fall on another object. It falls into the doer himself. In this case, this kind of fi'l is said to be lazim. It does not need maf'ul bihi. It cannot have maf'ul bihi actually. So that's how the difference between lazimun intransitive and muta'addi transitive is, okay? Now, there are more information here. So for instance, anzala means he sent down. Anzala, he sent down. The doer of the action is he, okay? That is the word he. This doer is not the one who descends, but rather he causes something else to come down, right? Therefore, anzala is considered muta'addi because the action affects another, okay? And it can take maf'ul. For instance, anzala al-kitaba means he sent down the book, okay? So he sent down the book. So he did the action, and this is the action he did, and this book is affected by this particular action. So we say the word anzala, or the fi'l anzala, is muta'addi. Now, on the other hand, fi'l lazim cannot take a maf'ul because the action affects the doer himself or herself. For instance, nazala. Nazala means he came down. He came down. In this case, the action also involves descending, but here the doer of the action is also the one affected by the act. That is, he is the one who is lowered. So, therefore, it does not make sense to say nazal al-kitaba. Nazal al-kitaba. It cannot be that, because that would translate into he came down the book, and that cannot be. And because you can see nazala is the fi'l, but kitaba is supposed to be what? Maf'ul bihi. So this one is maf'ul bihi. So nazala, which is supposed to be an intransitive fi'l, here is made to look transitive to this, so that this one will be affected. But this is a wrong expression. It cannot be this way. But nazala ar-ruh al-amin, for instance, the archangel Jibril descended. So nazala, so he is the one who did the action into himself. That's the correct expression. So, but if you want to say he is descended or he brought the book down, then it has to be anzala al-kitaba. So anzala huwa. Anzala huwa al-kitaba becomes maf'ul bihi. But when you say nazala, then it has to be nazala, the one who came down himself here has to be mentioned, okay? Good. So in that case, an easy way to test if a fi'l is transitive or not is to ask, can I add something or someone directly to the end of this fi'l? If the answer is yes, then the fi'l is muta'addi, that is transitive. Otherwise, it is lazim, intransitive. Let's look at something. So how do I know if a fi'l can have a maf'ul or it cannot? What it says here is that, for instance, the word qara'a, he read. Can you say qara'a shay'an, or he read something? If that be the case, yes, then the fi'l is muta'addi. When you say he read a book, or something, so that means the word read or he read in this case can be is now muta'addi. But when I say saqata, he fell, can I say he fell someone or he fell something? No, no. If I cannot say both, then it is intransitive. Okay. Sajada, he prostrated. Can I say he prostrated something or he prostrated someone? If no, then it is lazim, intransitive. So that is how to understand the transitive and intransitive. If you can put someone or something in front of it and it makes sense, then fair enough, it is muta'addi. Else, if you cannot do so, then that fi'l is lazim. So this is the two category of fi'ls that, in consideration of it, either it happened maf'ul or not. بِاعْتِبَارِهِ قَابِلٌ لِلْمَفْعُولِ أَوْ لَا. So if we say a fi'l can have maf'ul, then that fi'l is known as muta'addi. If the fi'l cannot have maf'ul, it is known as lazim. Okay. Now, the information I want to transfer here is that fi'ls that can have maf'ul bihi are the fi'ls that can be made majhul. So that is the information here. Fi'ls that cannot have maf'ul bihi cannot be made majhul. So you cannot make a passive of a fi'l that is lazim. You can only make a passive of a fi'l that is muta'addi. I hope that is well noted. Okay. So for us to do a quick exercise here with regards to muta'addi and lazim, please sharpen your fingers. Sharpen your fingers quickly and let's do this. We have 24 questions to answer in 24 seconds. Okay, sorry, in 24 something, I don't know what. But we are going to either say it is transitive or intransitive, T or I. Now note, the underlying information here is that if that fi'l or that fi'l can take maf'ul, you know, you can say, you can put something in front of it. When I say, I wrote a book, for instance. So I'm giving you the first one. He wrote. So he can write a book, he can write a letter, he can write a message. So this is transitive. So we say this is a T. This is a T. So it is a transitive fi'l. It's a fi'l, yes, but transitive. Muta'addi. Okay? Now, but if that fi'l cannot, for instance, he slept. You can't say he slept something or he slept someone. So it becomes what? This fi'l type becomes intransitive, is an I. So we have T and I, T and I. So you are going to give me T and I in 24 seconds. Okay. So please let's start by doing that quickly. So mata, is it T or I? Mata. Okay. Sorry. I think I have taken you off the screen. Okay. Mata, is it T or I? Mata, T or I? Hey, nobody is answering me. Oh. Mata is T-I, Ahmadiyya. What is T? I've seen T and I. Mata, how is it transitive? How is Mata, can he? That's interesting. Kulthum and Asma, how is it transitive? Can he, okay, can he, I wanted to say, can he matter something? Now, somebody who is matter, he is dead. So how can he, not he killed, not he killed, he died. So matter, is it transitive? I need a fourth and fifth answer. Is it a T or an I? He said what? إذا مات العبد أيوة ماذا يصيبه؟ إذا مات قد مات هو مات بنفسه. إذا الموت يحدث في نفسه. هو لا يمكن أن يميت أحد. فإذا مات انتهى. لأن كلمة مات إذا مات لا يميت شيء. فنحن نقول ليس أمات. There's difference between أمات and مات. Okay. إذا مات العبد هو الفاعل هنا. إذا هو مات. هل هناك مفعول به? Where is the مفعول به in that statement? There isn't. So you cannot have a مفعول به. العبد there is فاعل, no مفعول به. So in that case, the fi'l is intransitive. Okay. Now jara, number 4. Jara, is it transitive or intransitive? T or I? Okay, this is very interesting, huh? Jara, so how do you bring the maf'ul in jara? How do you bring the object in jara? He ran. He ran what? You can say he ran the race, right? Okay, he ran away. Okay. Okay. جرى في نفسه. جرى في نفسه. Yeah. Yes, جرى في نفسه is intransitive. Is intransitive. أخرج. What about أخرج? He kicked out. Anytime, look, now listen, get this very important. If the action is inside the doer himself and cannot be the same action cannot be on somebody. For instance, when he ran a track, he ran on the track, that's what we say, or he ran the race, the running does not affect the race. When the race is actually a part of, it is an attribute to the running. The action of running is not implicative, or it does not, it's not an implication on the race, for instance. Okay, so you need to understand that the meaning of being transitive right there. Transitive meaning the action can fall onto somebody. For instance, when I say he ate the food, the action of eating is not on the one who ate. The action fell on the food. So that is the meaning of transitive. But when I say he cried, the crying is inside the doer himself. So that is intransitive. So that is the difference between muta'addi and lazim. Okay? When you say akhraja, he kicked out. So he kicked out somebody, for instance. So this one becomes transitive. Okay? There is difference, for instance, between kharaja and akhraja. Okay? The difference between salima and aslama. Okay? The difference between mata and amata. So anytime you see a fi'l, this kind of fi'ls are known as the family number 4, which start with hamza. They are always transitive. Okay? Qala is the same thing. Qala is the same thing. He said. You can ask, what did he say? But for instance, he died. You can't ask, what did he die? Or who did he die? When you say akhraja, he kicked out, you can ask the question, what did he kick out? Or who did he kick out? It's correct. But when you say jara, he ran, can you ask, who did he run? Or what did he run, for instance? So that is the meaning of the transitive and intransitiveness of a fi'l. Sa'ada, he helped. Sa'ada, he helped. You can say, who did he help? He helped this man, right? Or he helped this woman. So this is transitive. Muta'addi. Ghasala. You can ask, Mada ghasala? What did he wash? He washed a cloth. So this is muta'addi. Istata'a. He was able. Now note, he was able. So the ability is inside the file. So it is intransitive. Qala, the same word here, he said, so it is transitive. Ya'kulu, he is eating. You can ask, he is eating what? Or he is eating who? Sorry, he cannot eat who. Sorry, that one would be cannibalistic. Huh? So you can say he is eating what? So that is also transitive because the action falls on something. Yaqumu, he stands. Now note, he stands. Are you following? You cannot say he stands. The action of standing now is moving on to another object. No, the action of standing is inside the file itself or himself. So it is intransitive. Lazim. ذهب, he went. Lazim. يفعل, he is doing. Is transitive. Sorry, this one ذهب is intransitive, but يفعل is transitive. يفعل ماذا? What is he doing? He is writing. أراد, he wanted. He wanted what? He wanted knowledge. So متعدي. جلس. Now tell me, what is جلس? Is it متعدي or لازم? جلس, is it متعدي or لازم? Asma. Where is Asma? Abdullah. And where is Noaim? You are prohibited from answering any question if you are the Noaim in Ghana. Okay. Yes. Jalasa is transitive. Okay. Is okay. So Kulthum, can you say Jalasa something? Can you put the word something in front of this? Something or someone? Yes or no? This question is for Kulthum. Can you put something or someone in front of here? He said can you put something? Okay, so how would that expression be? Can you give us that expression? What will it be? Give us an instance. Can you put a word here without a preposition? No. Now, when you say on, so this is a very good one here. That means we are still having an issue in understanding what the transitive and intransitive means. Now let's go back and see. Look at this. This is what we explain here. Now look at this word. He read someone. Can you say he read someone? No, but you can say he read something. So this one is correct. So this is muta'addi. This one is transitive. Okay? But can you say he fell someone? But he can say he fell on something. That's not what we mean. You don't use the preposition. If you have a preposition, then you are not having a maf'ul. You are having jar wa majroor. So it has to get an ism directly in front of the fi'l. Yes. So in this case, you cannot say he fell something. But you can say he fell on something. But when you say he fell on something, the on something makes the something is not maf'ul bihi. The something is jar wa majrur muta'alliq bi fi'l. So we need to understand muta'addi and lazim. Very, very important. You know, because I mean, in short, when we come to sarf, some of these things will become more and more clear. So we understand how can a fi'l itself can be moved from muta'addi to lazim. Yes, you can say he sat down, but okay, I like that one. He sat down. Now the word down there, is it? You know, you remember. I like this challenge. Where can I pass now? The word down is jalasa. Okay. I like the one. I like. I like the word down there. He sat down. Okay. Can you say that in Arabic? Can you say that in Arabic? He sat down. Can you type that in Arabic, transliterated? If you can, or somebody should help us translate. He sat down. Somebody should translate he sat down in Arabic for us. No. He sat down. She said he sat down. Jalasa means he sat. But I want us to write he sat down in Arabic. She said he sat. He sat. Jalasa. Nope. Yajlis is fi'l mudari. He sat. I want us to write, okay, maybe let me help by doing that. Okay, let me use okay. Let's enable annotation here a little bit, and let's use the system now. Okay, let's say, you know, in Arabic, I hope all of you are watching what I wrote. I'm writing. So in Arabic, when I say jalasa, I cannot say jalasa al-ard, for instance. Jalasa, it sounds, that's why I'm laughing, because it sounds a little bit, jalasa al-ard. Ard means down or zahab. Okay. Let's explain the first one, the first instance. When you say in English, he sat down. If you want to translate this, you will say jalasa, but you see, you won't bring the word down. If you want to say the person sat, he sat, you say jalasa. But when you want to say down, in Arabic, you can't say ard, you have to say jalasa ala al-ard. Okay, you have to bring ala al-ard, so you have to bring this ala. That makes this one not a direct ism that can become maf'ul bihi. No, so there is no maf'ul bihi to this jalasa. So jalasa, it is intransitive, because the act of julus happens inside the fa'il itself. It is not transferred onto another object. So that's the difference between this. And then you say, when you say he, for instance, in the first example, we said he ate. The action of eating does not affect the one who did the eating. The action of eating falls onto the food. So in this case, you can say akala, akala at-ta'ama, akala at-ta'ama. So you can see at-ta'am comes immediately after the fi'il. That tells you that this is maf'ul. But this one is not the maf'ul. This one is jarun wa majrur. So there's a break between the fi'il and then the ism. So in this case, this one is an intransitive fi'il, but this one is transitive fi'il. Why? Because this one accepts maf'ul bihi directly, but this one cannot accept maf'ul bihi, because it's an action that always occurs inside the doer, or it affects the doer himself or herself. But this action of eating, it affects another object, a maf'ul. It doesn't affect the eater. Okay? So that is the difference between, for instance, when we say, let me give you an instance, and when we come to sarf, a lot of this will become easier. There is difference between jalasa and ajlasa. Now, there are all fi'l madi, but this one is part of family number 1, and this family number 4. What does it mean? This is the af'ala if'alan, and then this is fa'ala fu'ulan, jalasa julusan wa ajlasa ijlasan. Okay. Now, when you say ajlasa, it means the action now falls onto another. So this one is actually a transitive fi'il, but this one is intransitive. So jalasa he sat. So the action falls on the doer himself, or affects the doer himself or herself. When you say jalasa or jalasat, the action affects the doer himself or herself. But when I say ajlasa, the action affects another object. You can say ajlasa tilmiz, meaning he has made the student to sit. So the difference between ajlasa and jalasa, in terms of it being muta'addi or lazim, transitive or intransitive. Okay, so jalasa he sat, ajlasa he made to sit, or he made someone to sit. In Hausa, okay, let me introduce this in Hausa for some of you who understand the Hausa. When in aka ce ya zauna da kuma ya zaunar, There are two different fi'ls. So ya zawna meaning the action of zawna wa is not in the dua. Okay, it's in the done to. Na zawna the abu, which means the action fell on someone. Na zawna, the action is in myself. So that's the difference. Yes, jalasa huwa. Exactly, ajlasa is also huwa. But the point is not about the huwa. Both of them, the dua is huwa. But one of them, the action can fall on another object. But the other, the action can only fall inside the doer himself or onto the doer, can affect only the doer himself. Okay, so that's just by the way of explanation, and I hope that is a little bit clear with us. Okay, so let's go back to our slides. I've missed my slide. Okay, we've already taken 30 minutes now, so let's go for a short break. But before that, let's look at where we stopped. But we just need to understand the transitive and intransitive. Pardon me, one moment, I've lost my slide. Okay, jump into my slides. Okay, so let me share this quickly. Okay, so this is where we are. In this case, we say that the word jalasa is intransitive, but ahsana al-amala. Okay, ahsana al-amala. So it is transitive. Yadribu al-walada. It's transitive. Allama al-insana ma lam ya'lam is also transitive. But alima is intransitive. Okay, alima is intransitive. Yes, I agree with you. We have to think in Arabic. Yes, absolutely. Well, you don't necessarily have to think in Arabic. What we mean here is that you have to think in the fi'l. And if you want to think in English, just ask yourself if I can just translate it directly with a word that does not require a preposition in Arabic. Yes, if you can say that in English, fair enough. Okay. Ya'khuza. Okay, you can say ya'khuza. He takes. Muta'addi. Yarfa'u. Muta'addi. Nazala. Lazim. Yanamu is also lazim. Okay. Good. Now, the difference between active and passive. Let's quickly do this before we go on short break. All the fi'ls we have studied so far are active, and that is in our previous lessons. Okay, they are all active. Sorry. An active fi'l is one in which the doer is known. For instance, akalahu Ahmadu. It means Ahmad ate it. Akalahu Ahmad. So akala is the fi'l. Ahmadu is the fa'il mu'akhar. Who is the maf'ul muqaddam. So this is maf'ul bi muqaddam and this is the fa'il. Now, however, let's look at the example. It was eaten. We don't want to mention who did the eating, but we just want to say it was eaten. So we do not know who ate it, but we do know that something was consumed. Now, A fi'l whose doer is not known is called passive or mabniyun lil majhul. Generally, a fi'l that can be made passive is transitive. This is what I was saying there. If you can make a fi'l mabni al majhul, then that fi'l is transitive. And the fi'l that cannot be made passive is intransitive. Okay? I mean, this is you can look at it the other way around. Any intransitive fi'l can be made majhul. Sorry, any transitive fi'l can be made majhul, passive, and all intransitive fi'ls cannot be made majhul. Okay? You recall that a transitive fi'l can be followed by the word someone or something. That is the assistance in the case of those who do the English. So Madam Kulsum, who said that we have to think English, it is yes and no. No, because even in English, if you can say something and or someone, okay, then then it is okay. But if you cannot say something or someone after the fail, then it is not, because someone or something must be a noun, not an adverb. Or an you know, for instance, when an example you gave of down is an adverb of place, but I want you to say he sat. For instance, he sat somebody, or he sat the book, or he sat the boy, for instance, or he sat the book. You can't say that. So the word, so it has to be in English. If you want me to put it in English, it has to be a noun. So can you bring any noun in front of the word sat? That will answer the question. But if you bring an adverb there, then that's not what is referred to. That doesn't make it transitive. Okay. So that is just to answer that. But bit by bit, slowly we'll go. For instance, let's give more examples here. The following verbs are transitive. Okay. Taught, because he can teach somebody. Eat, because he can eat a food. Watch, because he can watch a TV. So he taught, he taught, so he was taught. You can say he was taught. Okay. And so the chicken eats. Okay, the chicken eats. So the chicken is eaten. Okay, so he watched, and then we were watched. So the word watch can be made transitive. The following fi'ls or verbs are intransitive: cry, sleep, and go. So Ahmed cried. So the word cry here, you can say Ahmed was cried, for instance. The cat sleeps. So the cat is being slept. You can't say that. So he went. You can't say he was went, for instance. So all these fi'ls or these verbs in case of English, okay, they are intransitive. But these ones that can be made in passive are considered transitive. Okay, don't assume that the word was always leads to a passive meaning. That's also another information here. If I say he was standing, okay, it wouldn't constitute as a passive statement because the doer of the act of the standing is known to be he already. So the doer here is he. However, if I say it was said, this would qualify as a passive statement because the act of saying is known, but the one who did the saying is not known. So anytime an action is mentioned without making the doer known, either in pronoun form or in real form, then it is qualified to be passive. Else, it is always it is going to be active, and the fi'l cannot be considered to be muta'addi. So it's only muta'addi fi'ls that can be made passive, or passives are made from muta'addi fi'ls, but lazim fi'ls cannot be made passive. Okay. So psychological impact of majhul. We say the majhul is used in the Quran to emphasize the fi'l at the expense of the fa'il. Now we are coming to look at the reasons why sometimes the majhul is needed, okay, in the Quran. Now it may also be used to emphasize the fi'il while not limiting the fa'il, okay? So you don't want to limit the fa'il, so you make it unknown, okay? For instance, if I say he was hated, he was hated, okay? This statement has shifted the emphasis to the one that is being hated and not the one who did the act of hating, right? So if an emphasis if you want to lay an emphasis on the maf'ul, the one that was affected by the thing, we take off the doer. So it doesn't matter who did the act. The thing is that the act of hating here is abhorred, okay? Also, it does not restrict the number of the doers to one person. Okay, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says he cursed them, la'anahum, okay, he cursed them, it is only he who is the subject. Okay, it is only Allah who is the subject here. When he says they were cursed, okay, lu'inu. So there is a difference between la'anahum and lu'inu. La'anahum, he cursed them. Lu'inu, they were cursed. Okay, in this case, those who curse them may include Allah, the angels, the believers, their own limbs on the day of judgment. They are even friends and families and etc. So it is more powerful here to say more powerful here when Allah says they were cursed than he cursed them. Okay, so in this case, it's even lighter because it's only Allah who cursed them. Okay, and Allah can always forgive all of us. But when he said they were cursed, this is very serious. It means the act of cursing them it can come from all manner of beings, right? And so that is the situation or state where the use of mabni al-majhul becomes very, very important in the Quran. So anytime we see mabni al-majhul, is not just put like that, but there is a psychological reason for doing that. Okay. Okay, we'll go for a short break, 5 minutes, before we come in to explain the na'ib al-fa'il, what the na'ib al-fa'il is. For now, at least we have understood that the mabni lil-majhul is made from, somebody has just, okay, is made from a fi'il that is transitive. Fi'ils that are intransitive are not used in expressing mabni lil majhul. And if a mabni lil majhul is expressed, that means the doer is not known. The doer not known, made not known, is for reasons, certain reasons, can be eloquence reasons, can be also psychological reasons. But in the Quran, it's only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who knows why sometimes he made the doer unknown. But of course, the ulama will explain it in detail for us. Why in this case it is mabni lil majhul? Why is the ma'lum, the word not mentioned? For instance, our ulama will tell us wherever Allah desists from using or mentioning the doer of an action, we should explain it as such. And even it gives a heavier meaning than restricting it. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned Maryam alayhi salam and all her action, and he mentioned her by name, it means those things that happened to her can only happen to her and no one else until the day of Qiyamah. But in cases where he mentioned women and left it open, it means any woman can also fall into that category. These are some of the explanation given to us by our scholars where the action or the doer of an action is not mentioned by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by his own wisdom. We'll come back and mention when we have a fail mabni al-majhul, how do we consider the maf'ul, the hidatu maf'ul? What would it be? That is what we'll come to explain when we come back after this short break, after 5 minutes. Stay on. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Um, welcome back. We will continue now straight back to my slides. Hope you can see the slides now. Okay. Now, Naib al-Fa'il. What is Naib al-Fa'il? And you can see the name Naib al-Fa'il. So we are looking at, we already know what that fa'il is the doer. What about Naib al-Fa'il? So Naibi means the assistance of fa'il, the assistant of fa'il, okay? The one that stands instead of the fa'il in the absence of the fa'il. Now this Naib al-Fa'il can only be seen or can only be mentioned as a concept in i'rab when there is mabni lil majhul. Okay, anytime the fi'l is mabni lil majhul, please then don't, sorry, you can't get the fa'il because as we mentioned, the fa'il is unknown. So anytime there's mabni lil majhul, think about naib al fa'il. Now who becomes the naib al fa'il? The naib al fa'il would now become the hidatu maf'ul bihi. Let me make this very easy for us to understand. When I say akala Muhammadun at-ta'ama, Muhammad ate the ta'am, the food. Okay. Now the word ta'ama is the thing that was affected by the act of eating, right? Now it is because Muhammad ate the food, so I said akala Muhammad at-ta'ama. Now, if I don't want to mention Muhammad, or Muhammad is unknown, or nobody knows who did the eating, I just want to say the food is eaten, okay? Then I will say ukila at-ta'amu. The food is eaten. Now, you see at-ta'ama, which either was ta'ama, now becomes ta'amu. And it's a rafa ism. And we mentioned that every rafa ism is the fa'il. But in this case, it's not the fa'il, but it's the na'ib al-fa'il. Okay, why is it naib al-fa'il? Because there is no fa'il, so it just assume the position of the fa'il. What is the position of the fa'il? Is the ism that comes immediately after the fa'il or that follows the fa'il in rafa status. So the maf'ul bihi would now becomes naib al-fa'il and it will take rafa. That is the rafa status. So it will become ta'amu. When I say kataba aliyun al-kitaba, Ali wrote the book. When I don't want to mention the writer and I say kutibal kitabu, so kutibal kitabu, instead of kataba aliyun al kitaba, it becomes kutibal kitabu. So kitab becomes naib al fa'il. Generally, that is what it is. Now let's read here. It says that recall that in an active fi'l, there is a built-in pronoun, which is the doer, right? For instance, when I take kataba, huwa, so the huwa is a fa'il. Nasara, he helped. And nasarat, sorry, nasartu, I help. A passive fi'l by definition does not have a doer, yes, but we do know who the action was. Oh, sorry, but we do know who the action was done to. Okay, therefore, instead of an inside doer, or instead of an inside pronoun doer, we have the inside pronoun done to, maf'ul. Okay. Okay, so which is called the naib al-fa'il. Just like we can have an inside and outside fa'il, we can also have what? An inside and outside done to, or naib al-fa'il. The rules for the outside naib al-fa'il are exactly the same as the rules for the outside fa'il we have learned previously. What did we learn about outside fa'il? We said the outside fa'il, number one, it has to be in rafa status. It has to be after the fa'il. It cannot be before the fi'l. It has to be after the fi'l and it has to be in rafa status, right? And the fi'l can only be in huwa or hiya form. You remember that? The fi'l can only be in huwa or hiya form if the doer is outside, okay? And the outside naib al-fa'il must be after the fi'l and in rafa status. These are the three rules. Let's look at an example. Nasar al-muslimuna. Nasar al-muslimuna. Okay? When I say Nasar al-Muslimuna, it means the Muslims helped. So Nasara fi'l, and then you can see the Muslim is the Rafa ism, marfu'un with una. Okay? Una is the sign of Rafa here. And this is the doer of this action. And why do I know that this is the fa'il? Because it's the Rafa ism after the fi'l. In the passive form, it becomes nusira al-muslimuna. So nusira al-muslimuna, the Muslims were helped. So nasara is different from nusira. They are all fi'l madi. So ending with a or u'i. So this u'i, anytime I hear u'i is mabni al-majhul, but madi. Is madi mabni lil-ma'lum. Okay. So this u'i sound, keep it in mind. Like u'i, like durisa, julisa, oh sorry, julisa cannot be. Nusira, kutiba, ukila, okay, and so on. All the fi'l that can mubtadi would have that sound, ui, ui, ui. Anytime you hear ui, then it is mabni lil majhul or a passive fi'l madi, okay, ui, good. The jumla fi'liya, okay, the jumla fi'liya with passive. Again, we remember how all the rules that we learned with the active fails, right? They also apply here. Additionally, the harfs that we learned that can be used for the active past or present can also be used in passive. You remember the harfs, harf of light and lightest, all of those, right? You can make the film, how do we make the fi'l passive? Okay, fi'l madi. Okay, this is what I've just mentioned briefly. How do we, the following steps are used to convert the active past to a passive past, okay? So active and passive. How do we convert the active to passive? First of all sukoons do not change. That's the first rule. Second rule says the original last letter and anything after it does not change. Original last letter. It means the last letter in this case, in this nasara, is ra. So the ra would never change, okay? Would still be the same. So the original last letter does not change. The original, it does not change in the last, and it will be in huwa version, okay, of the fi'l. So the third point here is that you will have multiple u's and then followed by e. So you can have u, e, or u, e, or u, e. Okay, that's the sound. So you will always hear u-e, 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 right? For instance, let's look at some of the example. Ittakaza becomes utukhiza. So u-tu, so u-e, u-e. We said the last root letter does not change, and it is here. So ittakaza utukhiza. Katalu, kutilu. Galabat, gulibat. Sami'tuma, sumi'tuma. Bashartunna, bushirtunna. So you see the ui would always be there to show you that this is Madi. Okay. So in past, this is the table. You remember this table of huwa, huma, hum, hiya, huma, hunna, anta, antuma, antum, anti, antuma, antunna, ana, nahnu. But in this case, it's now put in passive. Instead of nasara, it is nusira. Nasara, nusira, nasaru, nusiru, nasarat, nusirat. Nasarata, nusirata, nasarna, nusirna, nasarta, nasarta, nusirta, nasartuma, nusirtuma, nasartum, nusirtum, nasarti, nasarti, nusirti, and then nasartuma, nusirtuma, nasartunna, nusirtunna, nasartu, nusirtu, and nasarna becomes nusirna. So you can hear the ui, 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 ui. So the ui is the symbol that makes you know fi'l madi, mabni lil majhul, madi. So madi. Okay. These are some of the examples. Aynama, suqifu. So suqifu, suqifu is what? Mabni lil majhul. Okay. And the naib al-fa'il is hum, because it's hum. In this case, we don't say fa'il, we say naib al-fa'il. Ukhizu fil madi mabni al-majhul. The naib al-fa'il is hum. Qutilu, the same thing, hum. Okay. Here it says, قال له موسى هل أتبعك على أن تعلمني مما علمت. علمت أنت. Okay. علمت, the naib al-fa'il is what? Anta, علمت. So ui. فإن كذبوك فقد كذب. كذب رسل. كذب. So ui. In this case, it's also mabni lil majhul, madi, and rusulun becomes naib al-fa'il. خلق الإنسان خلق. So خلي هو خلق في الماضي مبني للمجهول, and then الإنسان is نائب الفاعل. قل إني أمرت أنا أمرت. So to is أنا. So they say here في الماضي مبني للمجهول, and then أنا is the نائب الفاعل. How do we convert a present passive from the, present active to passive? The same rules. We have also 3 rules or 3 steps here. Actually, I will share this document with you. I will share another handout with you where we will find the mabni al-majhul, inshallah, today for you to revise more. Okay, inshallah. Fi'l mudari' mabni al-majhul, the same rule. All the sukoons do not change. The original last letter and anything after it also does not change. Okay, so it's the same thing. But the sound becomes u and then a. So this is u a, but it can have more than one a. So it can be u a or u a. Okay, but the first sound is u. So anytime I hear u a is fi'l mudari' mabni al-majhul. When I hear u e, UE is fi'l mudari' mabni, is fi'l madi mabni al-majhul. So the difference is there E and A in that case. So for instance here, yakhluquna, this is active. Yakhluq. So yakhluq, this is normal or active. But yukhla, u'a. You remember we said all the sukoons do not change. So the sukoon here and sukoon here do not change, okay? And the last root letter does not also change. In this case, u, and then everything that is after it. Okay? Una. So una would not change. Kuna would not change. Everything after the last root letter would not change. But then we'll have the u, and then all sukoons do not change. So this one is maintained. This one become u-a. But this a can be more than one. Okay? This second a can be more than one. It doesn't matter. But then the last letter would not change, and whatever is after it. That is how you are able to see the mabni lil majhul fil mudari. Okay? Tas'alani, tus'alani. So tas'a, u'a. This u'a, this is a. Tas'a, tus'a. Okay? Yaftahu, yuftahu. So u'a fil mudari. Mabni lil majhul. Okay? And of course, the naib al fa'il is huwa. Here the fa'il is huwa. Ta'khudhina anti. Ta'khudhina anti. Tu'khadhina. Also, the naib al-fa'il is anti. Okay? U'a. The naib al-fa'il is anti. This is the example of the fi'l mudari' mabni al-majhul. The same thing, you have to put it through the pronouns. Huwa, huma, hum. Hiya, huma, hunna. Anta, antuma, antum, anti, antuma, antunna, ana, nahnu. Don't forget, you cannot conjugate your fi'l mudari' without knowing your pronouns, imperfection. Okay? So in the case of fi'l mudari' here, instead of yansuru, the active, it becomes yunsaru. The active yansurani becomes yunsarani. So u'a. So anytime you hear u'a, it's mudari. Yansuruna becomes yunsaruna. Okay, that is hum. Here, tansuru becomes here tunsaru. Huma tansurani becomes tunsarani. Okay, u'a. And then the hunna yansurna, that's active. Hunna yunsarna, u'a becomes the passive. Anta tansuru, that's the active. The passive, anta tunsaru, then anta becomes naib al-fa'il. Antuma tansurani, active. The dua is antuma, okay? And then antuma tunsarani, the naib al-fa'il becomes antuma. Antum tansuruna, you all helped. Okay? You all helped. But when I say you all are helped, okay, then I will say antum tunsaruna. And then anti tansurina, that's the active one. Tunsarina, passive. Antuma tansurani, active. Antuma tunsarani, passive. Antunna tansurna, active. The dua is antunna. Antunna tunsarna, all of you are helped. Mabni al-majhul fil mudari. Ana ansuru, active. Ana ansuru, active. Passive, ana unsaru. Okay? And then ana nahnu nansuru, active. We help, active. But we are helped, it becomes nahnu nunsaru. Okay? So yansuru becomes yunsaru. Yansurani becomes yunsarani. Yansuruna becomes yunsaruna. Tansuru becomes tunsaru. Tansurani becomes tunsarani. Yansurna becomes yunsarna. Tansurna becomes tunsarna. Tansurani becomes tunsarani. Tansuruna becomes tunsaruna, sorry. And then tansurina becomes tunsarina. Tansurani becomes tunsarani, and then tunsarna becomes, sorry, tansurna becomes tunsarna, ansuru becomes unsaru, and nansuru becomes nunsaru. Okay, so the u'a is the sound that you have to maintain in knowing mabni al-majhul. The last thing about mabni al-majhul is an example here for the i'rab. So grammatical analysis, the rules are similar to all jumla fi'liya with an active fi'l, except instead of saying the fa'il, the doer, there is here a done to, the na'ib al-fa'il. Okay, na'ib al-fa'il. The rules for the inside and outside doer are the same as the inside and outside done to. Okay, the same thing. Okay, example, duriba zaydun al-yawma. Duriba, so you hear the ui, so it's madi, fi'l madi, mabni al-majhul. Duriba zaydun, who is supposed to be maf'ul bihi, now becomes the naib al-fa'il, and it has taken the sign of the fa'il. Okay, because if you are the na'ibi, ana baka rawanin na'ibi ne, ko ba haka ba? Yes, if you become the na'ibi, they give you the kalansuha, the fulla of the na'ibi. Every fa'il is supposed to be in rafa status. So now that Zaid, which hitherto was the maf'ul, becomes the fa'il, it also takes the rafa. Okay, so it becomes na'ib al-fa'il, and al-yawma is maf'ul when. Okay, maf'ul fihi. We call it maf'ul when. Now, sayus'al al-muslimuna an hadha. Sayus'alu. So you see, yus'alu, who are. Yus'alu, the scene, leave the scene alone. يسأل is the fi'l مضارع مبني للمجهول. المسلمون نائب الفاعل, and then this متعلق بفعل because it's جار ومجرور MBF. Okay, the last one says here المسلمتان تنصران في المسجد. You remember how we say anytime you see the ism before the fi'l, then definitely there is jumla ismiya. So we have mubtada المسلمتان, and then tunsarani becomes another jumla fi'liya here, which is the khabar, but the jumla fi'liya here is with the fi'l mudari' mabni lil majhul, and the na'ib al-fa'il there is what? Na'ib al-fa'il there is antuma. Okay, antuma, and then fil masjidi jar majrur MBF متعلق بالفعل. Okay, MBF متعلق بالفعل. So the whole of this tunsarani fil masjidi becomes the khabar of al-muslimatan. We'll take a very short break and come back. When we come back, we will come and learn some concepts before we call it a day, inshallah. Stay on. We'll come back shortly. Assalamu alaikum. Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I hope you are all here. Um, okay. Let's quickly go back to our slides and learn some concepts again today. Okay. I'm sharing my slides. Okay, interesting polls here. The last time I couldn't share the polls that I shared. Any of you who have seen the polls and has not answered yet with the question, please do so. It helps a lot in showing us the direction if we are still going doing well or not. The question is, which level of the Arabic language structure is not yet understood? The popular answer, 71% says none, which means, alhamdulillah, we are doing well. And 29% says the fragments. Okay. And then 6% says kinds of sentences. And good. And nobody, there's nothing with the that says we do not understand at all, or the kinds of words. So, alhamdulillah, kinds of words, no issues. A small issue with the fragments, and then yeah, so that is it. Inshallah, with time, it's all fall in place. Jazakumullah khair for those who have answered the polls. So we're just taking notes of your feedback. Inshallah, we'll work on that maybe between tomorrow and subsequently. Okay. Okay. Now, let's go to the slides and quickly learn some things about now. Okay, negative or negation fails. So you see, we are learning more about fails, not any concept new, right? All we are learning are more about those things. I mean, the most important thing for us to know is that, you see, everything we are learning here is either about, of course, type of kalima, ism fi'l harf is done. Type of the fragment, idafa, jar wa majroor, inna and the sisters and its ism, mawsuf sifa, as well as ism al-ishar, mushar ilay. They are also well fine, intact. Jumla ismiya fi'liya, intact. All we are learning now is about them. I mean, within that structure, we're not going out. For instance, we have just learned mabni lil majhul. What is mabni? Fi'il mabni. So it's about fi'il. So we have learned the 3 kinds of fi'ils or 4 kinds of fi'il, and there are no additions. These ones are if the fi'ils, it is in case where the fa'il is mentioned or not mentioned, okay? Not mentioned. If it is known or not known. Because I heard somebody, a question earlier on about hasf, okay? When it is mahazuf. No, majhul doesn't mean mahazuf. Majhul is majhul, okay? Mahzuf means it's there, it's just that literally is taken off, okay? So that's the difference, okay? So, but what I want to say here is that fi'il we know. Now there are reasons why the fi'il will be active or passive, right? We have just learned that, and when it is passive, what happens to the fa'il? Okay, there's no fa'il. What happens to the maf'ul bihi? The maf'ul bihi stands instead of the fa'il, and it takes all its attributes. This is what we have just learned, right? Now we are going to learn something called the negation of a fi'il. So the fi'il can be negated. Is the fi'il we know, the same fi'il, not any other, the ism fi'il harf, we are still within that, right? The fi'il can be made negative. And then there is also the use of qad. This word qad, what does it mean? How is it applied? And then istifham, interrogation. How do you do interrogation? How does interrogation grammatically affect the fi'il? Yes or no? Fi'il talab is a very interesting topic that we are going to also look at. It's a concept, but they are short concepts, okay? Quickly, in Arabic here, we said in Arabic, negation is called nafi, okay? Tanfi shay, nafi. Now note, there's difference between nafi and nahi. Nahi is forbidden. Nafi is negation. We mentioned it once, but we're just putting it into concept, more context now. It says that in Arabic, negation is called nafi, and a harf that negates is called what? Nafiya. Nafiya. So these harfs are called what? There are 4 harfs that can be used to negate a fi'l. Okay? Ma nafiya, la nafiya, lam nafiya, lan nafiya. I'm sure you have known this lam and lan. Okay, you know them. But here we are looking at them in a different context. Okay, you remember that lan is used to make fi'l mudari light. Lam is used to make fi'l mudari lightest, as well as no, this la is, we have not we did this la and na here. That one makes fi'l mudari lightest, right? But they have 2 different meanings. This one negates, the other one forbids. Okay, when I say la tazhab, do not go, it's a command forbidding you from going. But when I say la tazhabu, I mean you do not go. So I'm just negating your going. Okay, you do not go. There's a difference between you do not go, which is the la here becomes nafia. But when I say don't go, la tazhab, this la becomes a na here. How do I know it literally? The la and nafia maintains the fi'l mudari. The fi'l mudari is normal, tazhabu, marfu. But when I use the la and na here, it makes the fi'l mudari lightest, right? So this, in this case, we are not talking about the light or lightest of the fi'l, but we are talking about the meaning that they convey. They convey negation. Ma la lam lan. So you say ma la lam lan. Ma la lam lan is negation harfs. Okay, good. So in detail, here they are. Ma can be used with both past and present. Take note. Ma can be used for both past and present. And ma does not affect the fi'l. Okay. It includes both negation and refutation. It's very, very strong. And the strongest form of negation is ma. Okay. Be careful. Ma has other uses besides negation. Okay. We will study it later. You remember ma, mausuliya. It was one of the allazi, alladina, allati, allatani, allahi, allati, or allawai, allahi or allawati, as well as ma and man. That ma is ism, but this ma is harf. Okay, good. That is ma. What about la? La is used with present only. Note, ma is used for both present and past. But la is used for only present and do not affect the fi'l also. They don't have anything to do with the fi'l. They don't make them anything. And does not include meaning of refutation. La doesn't refute, okay? What about lam? Lam is used with present only. Again, only present. But it does something in the fi'l. It makes the fi'l lightest. It makes it majzoom, okay? It pushes also the meaning of the present into past. The lam pushes the meaning of a present into past and does not include the meaning of refutation again. Lan is also used with the present only, but it also makes the fi'l light, tansabul fi'l mudari, and it pushes the meaning of the present into future, right? Whilst this lam pushes the present into past, lan pushes present into future, and it also doesn't include refutation. So it's only ma that includes refutation but does not affect the fi'l. But lan and lam, they affect the fi'l. Okay, one make it lightest and the other make it light. These are examples. Okay, they did not teach. Ma darasu or lam yadrusu is the same meaning. They do not teach. So they did not. This one is in the past. Okay, and you can see here, though it's in the present, the fi'l mudari is present, but lam pushes this to past. They do not. So do not teach. Ma yadrusuna. So ma yadrusuna. La yadrusuna. Again, this and that is the same meaning. They will not teach. Lan yadrusu. Lan yadrusu. You see, yadrusu is fi'l mudari, but the lan pushes it into future. So it says will not. Lan will not. Okay. These are some of the examples in the Quran here where the the negation harfs have been underlined. وَمَا يَشْعُرُونَ. Okay. وَمَا يَشْعُرُونَ. And they do not realize. They do not. So this ma, you can see that yash'uruna is not affected by the ma. It just negates it. Okay. وَمَا قَتَلُوهُ وَمَا صَلَبُوهُ. So this is negation. Okay. They did not kill him and they did not crucify him. وَاللَّهُ لَا يُحِبُّ. You see, la, Allahu la yuhibbu. This is a negation again. Does not like. Allah does not like. Allama al-insana ma lam. So this lam ya'lam, not this ma. This ma is mawsuliya. Lam here is a negation. Again, ya'lam, fil mudari affected by lam, by making it what? Lightest. Okay. And it pushes the present into past. You can see that. Okay. Lam ya'lam, did not know. And then qalu lan tamassana narun. Tamassana is fil mudari. Okay. Tamassa, fil mudari, it makes it light, and then it pushes the present into future. Lan, this is the work of lan. Okay. These are some of the examples again. Qalu lan tabassana naru. This is what we just said. Jumla fi'liya. Qalu is jumla fil madi, and the dua is hum because of the qalu. Okay. What did they say? Lan tamassana an-nar. The whole of this is called maqul al-qawl. Then maqul al-qawl is always in nasb status. That is what they said. So this is maf'ul bihi or the done to. But in Arab we call it maqul al-qawl. Maqul al-qawl is actually in Arab we say maqul al-qawl after any word that stems from the root word of qala. So qala, yaqulu, yaquluna, qulna, all the thing that has to do with qala, the statement that comes after it is in fi mahall nasb maf'ul bihi, but we call it maqul al-qawl. Okay. But after saying that the whole of this is maqul al-qawl, you come and do a detailed analysis of each word in it, where you say lan is nafiya, nafiya, nafi ta'bidiyya, tamassa is fil mudari' mansub. Okay. And then na, lam tamassa, na is maf'ul bihi muqaddam, and an-naru is fa'ilun mu'akhkhar. Okay. And then wallahu la yuhibbu zalimin, another jumla here, but this is ismiya because it started with Allah. Okay. Wallahu la yuhibbu al-zalimina. Wa is atifa, Allahu lafzu jalala mubtada, la yuhibbu al-zalimin. The whole of that becomes khabar, and then you come and do the detailed i'rab of la yuhibbu al-zalimin. La here is nafiya. Why? Because you can see yuhibbu with the dhamma, so it doesn't make it lightest for it to be the forbidden la. It's not. It's not. Why? Because you can see the dhamma. It doesn't make it lightest. So yuhibbu is fil mudari, and then the dua is huwa, lafz al-jalala huwa, and then sorry, in this case not lafz al-jalala but the damir huwa inside here. Okay, even though it means Allah in the meaning. Az-zalimina is maf'ul bihi. Okay. And then the second concept. So that is about ma la lam lan. Ma la lam lan. They are used for negation. What about qad? How do you use this word qad? It says the harf qad is only used with fi'ls. Isn't that interesting? Anytime you see qad, then the word after it must be a fi'l. In the Quran, the word qad is used with both past and present. Okay, to emphasize and imply certainty. This is the word, certainty. However, in modern Arabic, qad is used with past tense to emphasize and imply certainty of action, and may also include the meaning of already. Already, note this word, already, in the modern Arabic. Okay, for instance, when I say qad kataba, it can mean he already wrote, or he definitely or certainly wrote. Okay, qad kataba. So you see, kataba is fi'l madi. By that, qad will mean what? Certainly or already. Okay. In modern Arabic, when we use it with present tense, qad, okay, it can imply certainty or may also give the meaning of maybe or might. Okay. So if there is fi'l mudari in front of it, it can have the meaning of maybe, okay, The meaning depends on the context. E.g., قد يعلم, meaning he might. He might know, okay? He might know, or he certainly knows, depending on the context, okay? قد أفلح المؤمنون, the believers have already succeeded, okay? قد أفلح, so أفلح في الماضي, so certainly, or the believers have definitely succeeded. But if it has been قد يفلح, for instance, it we will then say that maybe, or believers might succeed. But in this case, because it's as if it's already done, or definitely so, the word qad was succeeded by fi'il madi. So the main thing about qad is that qad comes after fi'il mudari' to give certain meaning depending on the context, and when fi'il madi, comes before fi'il madi or fi'il mudari' to give a certain meaning, either certainty or probability, okay? So قد نرى تقلب وجهك في السماء فلنولينك قبلة ترضاها فولي وجهك شطر المسجد الحرام. This is the story about Quran telling us about the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And in this ayah, Allah said, we have certainly seen the turning of your face, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, towards the heavens, and we will surely turn you to a qibla with which you will be pleased. Now, the mahall al-shahid here is what? قَدْ نَرَى. قَدْ نَرَى. And nara is fi'l mudari', starting with noon of Anita, nara. Okay, but in this case, it says in this ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala informs the Prophet that he has already seen, not he might see. No, he has already seen the Prophet looking to the sky, hoping for an ayah and permission to pray towards the Kaaba. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala assured the Prophet sallallahu that indeed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saw his face turning, and because of that the Qibla was changed from Bayt al-Maqdis to Kaaba. Now, from this beautiful ayah, we learn the power of dua and the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy and the love that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have for Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Even without saying any words verbally, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala already knew of the Prophet's wish from a simple glance at the sky. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did exactly so and fulfilled it for him. Okay, good. Jumla fi'liya and the question mark. Now, this is the third concept that we are going to learn before we leave here today. Istifham, asma al-istifham. What are the asma al-istifham? There's something we call question tags, okay? How do they work with jumla fi'liya? For instance, a jumla fi'liya, we say here, can easily be made into a question by introducing certain words in front of them, okay? For instance, katabat Zainabu. Katabat Zainabu. I'm doing it in Katabat Zainabu, not Zainabu. Katabat Zainabu. This is a jumla fi'liya, okay? Zainab wrote. Now, below are some of the questions that can be asked, against this particular expression. Okay, notice that the jumla fi'liya doesn't change. So any question tag against this jumla would not change the jumla. The jumla will be as it is. All what we have to do is to know how to translate the asma al-istifham. Okay, so now these are the istifhamat: hal, mata, aina, limaza, kaifa, and maza. These istifhamat, these question tags, they do not affect the fi'l. The only thing that changes here is that the question tag changes. Okay, hal aw katabat Zainabu, the same thing. Katabat fi'l madi and Zainabu is fa'il. Mata katabat Zainabu, so katabat fi'l madi, Zainab fa'il. So in your i'rab, you say aina ismul istifham, katabat fi'l madi, Zainab fa'il. Limaza ismul istifham, katabat fi'l madi, Zainab fa'il. Kayfa ismul istifham, katabat fi'l madi, Zainab fa'il. Mada ismul istifham, katabat fi'l madi, and Zainab fa'il. That's what you do there. The i'rab is easy. The only difference here is that there's a difference between these question tags. Mada means what, kayfa means how, limada means why, aina means where, and mata means when. Sorry, mata, yes, mata means when, and hal or means did. Okay, Now, all of these are asma. Mata, aina, limaza, kaifa, maza. They're all asma. Only these ones are huruf. Sorry, harfan. Harf al-istifham, harf al-istifham. And they all are the same, having the same meaning. The rest are asma al-istifham. Now, if this is, note, if this is ism al-istifham, then this is jumla ismiya. If this is jumla, this is harf, then this is jumla fi'liya. And that's the trick. That's the trick. If this harf, there's no jumla harfiya, so just is jumla fi'liya. Because after the harf, the first word here is a fi'l, so jumla fi'liya. But this is an ism, so this is mubtada. So you do this mata ism al-istifham mabniyun ala sukun fi mahall rafa mubtada. Then you do the i'rab of katabat Zainabu jumla fi'liya fi mahall rafa khabar. Okay? That is important. Because a fi'l madi is being used, the question is translated into past using did. Okay? Did. That's why, because of the fi'l that is there. So you say here, did Zainab write? Hal katabat Zainab? When did Zainab write? It's because the fi'l is in madi. That's why the did is maintained throughout. Okay? When did Zainab write? Or where did Zainab write? Or why did Zainab write? Or how did Zainab write? Or what did Zainab write? Okay. Below are examples using the fi'l mudari. So in this case is fi'l madi, katabat. In this case is fi'l mudari. أو هل كتبت زينب كتابا؟ متى كتبت زينب كتابا؟ أين كتبت زينب كتابا؟ لماذا كتبت؟ سوري ليس كتبت. هل تكتب زينب كتابا؟ متى تكتب زينب كتابا؟ أين تكتب زينب كتابا؟ لماذا تكتب زينب كتابا؟ كيف تكتب زينب كتابا؟ ماذا تكتب زينب؟ Okay, ماذا تكتب زينب. So the difference here is only that the fi'l is mudari. Okay, and that's why the word is mentioned here. Okay, so هل استفهامية أو استفهامية تكتب فعل مضارع مرفوع بالضمة. Okay, the U sound فعل مضارع, normal فعل مضارع. Zainab is the doer, and then kitaban is maf'ul bihi. The same here. In this case, you say mata is mubtada. Why? Because it's an ism. Taktubu Zainabu kitaban, the whole of that is khabar. Then you come and do the i'rab of taktubu fi'l mudari, Zainabu fa'il, and this is maf'ul bihi. Wal jumla fi mahall rafa maf'ul khabar mata. Okay. Very important. Sorry, السلام عليكم. يا أخي العزيز أنا في الفصل أتصل بك بعد قليل. Okay. Then لماذا تكتب زينب كتابا. Okay, لماذا استفهامية تكتب كتابا خبر. Okay, so مبتدا خبر. Then you do the فعل فاعل مفعول. Okay, another here كيف استفهامية مبتدا تكتب فعل مضارع زينب فاعل كتابا مفعول به. ماذا استفهامية مبتدا تكتب فعل مضارع زينب فاعل. Okay. These are some of the examples. هل يستطيع, you can see the يستطيع is not affected by هل. So يستطيع is فعل مضارع normal. رب is the فاعل مرفوع, and then مضاف ك اسم مضاف إليه مبني على الفتحة في محل جر. Okay. يبغون استفهامية يبغون فعل مضارع مرفوع. You can see مرفوع. The doer is هم. Okay. عندهم العزة فإن العزة لله جميعا. وكيف حرف الاستفهام, sorry, اسم الاستفهام, not حرف. Only this and that are harfs. Note, only this and that are harfs. This one is an اسم الاستفهام. Okay. كيف اسم الاستفهام. أخاف ما أشركتم, the whole of that is خبر of this مبتدا, first an اسم. And then you do أخاف فعل مضارع. Okay. The doer is أنا. ما is ما موصولية في محل نصب. Okay, مفعول به. أشركتم الجملة فعلية صلة الموصول. Okay, and then you do the أشركتم, أنتم أشركتم في الماضي, and then the doer is أنتم. فأين is اسم الاستفهام مبتدأ, تذهبون is خبر, في المضارع مرفوع, and the doer is هم. ماذا أراد الله. أراد ماذا is اسم الاستفهام مبتدأ. أراد الله بهذا مثلا, the whole of that is خبر. أراد فعل مضارع الله فاعل بهذا جار ومجرور MBF مثلا مفعول حال. Okay. And finally, we look at فعل طلب. Okay, we look at فعل طلب. What is this فعل طلب? فعل طلب is a very interesting thing. You know, we learn فعل ماضي, فعل أمر, and then فعل نهي. Okay, فعل أمر and نهي are all in the future. Okay, now let me just take this one off, and then let's share it this way. Let me take this one off. You know, we have فعل ماضي, past, فعل مضارع, present, and then فعل أمر. When we said the أمر, which is the future tense, it's either command or forbidding. Now we command and forbid ourselves, our friends, our colleagues, and so on. But you can't command and forbid Allah. So anything that has to do with the superiority, the superior, you don't command and you don't forbid. You can't command your father to give you something or not to do something. What you do is you request from him, right? So it's a command, but we don't call it command. Whether you want to ask something from your father or from a king or from any superior, you request. You don't command him, right? And even when you want to say he shouldn't do something, you still request, right? So it's a form of a request anytime when it's coming. So that's the meaning of talab. So fil talab is actually either fil amr or fil nahi. But because the one you are asking from is a superior, so you don't consider it as talab. That's the concept there, okay? I just needed to do this directly so that we know what it means here. So fil talab, and it says that it, of course, it's even called fil dua. Okay, we call it dua. Okay. Now that you have learned commanding and forbidding, you may realize that many dua we make are grammatically in the commanding and forbidding forms. For instance, قال ربي اشرح, Rabbi ishrah, oh Allah, ishrah, expand. You are as if you are commanding, but it's actually not a command, it's a talab. You are requesting that Allah expands your chest. This is a dua by one of the prophets, and he says, Rabbi ishrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Musa alayhi salatu wasalam. And so ishrah, though is fi'il, we don't say fi'il amr, because the one being asked is Allah. And so we don't command Allah, but we request or we make dua to Allah. So we call it fi'il talab. Okay, but the i'rab is the same thing. You do the normal i'rab. It's just that you say that the dua here, the one we are asking for, is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or lafzul jalala, which is inside. Okay, wa yassir li amri, the same thing. You are asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or requesting. Okay. For instance, another one says, Rabbi fala taj'alni. La is a forbidding. You are asking Allah not to do something, but it's not. You are not forbidding Allah, but you are actually asking Him or requesting from Him or making dua. Okay. So the words ishrah, yassir are grammatically command forms for anta. Okay. But the phrase la, and also the phrase la taj'al, is the forbidding form for anta, meaning do not. Okay, do not make or place. However, the slave does not command or forbid the master, but rather the slave requests and asks from the master. And the command form shows great need and desperation. Therefore, when grammatically analyzing the word ishrah, yassir, and la taj'al, we will call them fi'il talab. But note, please don't call it any other fi'il. Don't say fi'il amr or fi'il nahi, okay? It's fi'il talab, the fi'il of request, not fi'il amr or fi'il nahi, as the case may be. Okay, so read through these du'as from the Quran and cycle the talab. Okay, so where is the fi'il talab in the first ayah? Quickly tell me, where is the fi'il talab in the first ayah? Tell me where the fi'il talab is in the first ayah. Sorry for that. I had to pick one call. Okay, so Kulthum says ij'al. So ij'al exactly is the fi'l talab here. Ij'al. So ij'al is the fi'l talab. Very good. Ij'al is the fi'l. Na ij'al. Very good. I like that, but na, okay, na is the maf'ul. So ij'al is the fi'l because the dua here is anta ya Allah. Okay. And what about Rabbana la tu'akhizna in nasina akhtana? Where is the fi'l talab? Where is the fi'l talab in this? Is that a fi'l talab? Yes. If yes, where is it? Where is the fi'l talab? In Rabbana. Yes, la tu'akhizna. It's actually la tu'akhizna. Okay, you use the word la there as if you are forbidden, but it's not forbidden. We call it fi'l talab. Okay, so you add the la. So you say la tu'akhiz. Very good, Imran. Very good, Kulthum. So let's go to the next one. وَقُلْ رَبِّ زِدْنِي عِلْمًا. Where is the fi'l talab? وَقُلْ رَبِّ زِدْنِي عِلْمًا. Quickly, Asma. Yes, la tu'akhiz. Very good, la tu'akhizna. Where is the fi'l talab in قُلْ رَبِّ زِدْنِي عِلْمًا? Yes, very good, zidni. Very good, zidni ilman. So the zidni is the fi'l al-talab. Very good, yes. Rabbana faghfir lana zunubana. Where is the fi'l al-talab? Rabbana faghfir lana zunubana. Where is the fi'l al-talab? Quickly. Rabbana faghfir lana zunubana. Faghfir lana. Yes, very good. Faghfir. Faghfir is the fi'l al-talab. Rabbana wa taqabbal du'a. Where is the fi'l al-talab? Thank you, Asma. Thank you, Imran and Kulthum. Very good. Rabbana taqabbal. Very good. It's taqabbal. Taqabbal becomes the fi'l al-talab because you are asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept. Okay. So these are the word i'rab here. وَقُولُوا لَهُمْ قَوْلًا مَعْرُوفًا. وَقُولُوا لَهُمْ قَوْلًا مَعْرُوفًا. Some of the i'rab here. Wa is atifa. Qulu is fi'l amr. Okay. Fa'il is antum. لهم متعلق بقولوا متعلق بالفعل MBK. قولا is مفعول مطلق. You remember this مفعول, right? I said the مفعول مطلق is always pulled from the فعل. So قولوا قولا. Okay? قولوا قولا. So this kind of مفعول is called مفعول مطلق. How badly? How badly مفعول? How badly something is done. Okay? مفعول مطلق and is موصوف. معروفا is the صفة. Okay? Of قولا. And then here it says وقالت لأختيه خذيه. وقالت wa is عاطفة. قالت is فعل ماضي and the fa'il is here. لأختيه. So the whole of لأختيه خذيه, the whole of that is مقول القول. You remember what we said, right? So here sorry, لأختيه is متعلق بفعل and لي is حرف جر. أختي مجرور ومضاف. And ضمير he is مضاف إليه. The whole of قصيه جملة فعلية مقول قول. قصي فعل أمر فاعل is أنت and then the he is مضاف sorry مفعول به. Okay. Inshallah, tomorrow we will discuss جملة شرطية before we close. But Alhamdulillah, for today, we were able to discuss some concepts that are so very important, particularly in our understanding of what Nahaw is and how we can apply it. Today we have learned the concept of qad, how it is applied to a sentence, and after qad we always have a fail. The fail can be madi or mudari. If it is madi after qad, then it means certainty. But if it is mudari, depending on the context, it can either be for certainty or what we say maybe or might. You know, for instance, if I say Aina Muhammad and then somebody says Kad ya'ti, in Arabic, the modern Arabic, Kad ya'ti means he may come or he might come. But when I say Kad ja'a, it means he has certainly come. So Madi generally will say something has happened if it happens after Qad. But if it is Mudari that happens after Qad, we say maybe sometimes. Okay. And then also we did have a browse on what is known as Ism al-Istifham or Harfa al-Istifham, where you use the a or hal or aina, or kaifa, or mada, or limaza. These are asma al-istifham. We say they do not affect the jumla in front of them, either either the fi'l is madi or mudari. They do not affect it, but they just have a meaning that shows depending on the context. Okay, and then also we learned about the negation harfs, mala, lam, and then len, mala, lam, and len, and how some of them are very powerful, like ma, that includes refutation in its meaning, and then the rest of them which can apply to madi, mudari alone, but ma can apply to both madi and mudari. So please, can I say kad ata? Yes, of course you can say kad ata. Ata is spelled madi. Yes, exactly. Okay. Thank you very much for attending. Tomorrow we will be closing these sessions. We'll maybe have one concept to learn or two maximum, and then we will end the whole sessions of tomorrow with very, very important templates. And those templates are high-level templates to give you the graphical picture of the whole course that we have undertaken so far. And then also do some exercises if time permits. A lot of them tomorrow. So when you are coming tomorrow, sharpen your fingers and make sure I will share with you one of the handouts, a more detailed handouts that includes Mabni al-Majhul, so that you have more reading to do tonight. And more Edmudos tonight. I know a lot of you have gone to sleep, but for some of you who have done it, kudos to you. I'm sure you will have benefited a lot. And inshallah, we'll meet tomorrow to conclude this particular batches sessions. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات تواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل أعوذ برب الفلق من شر ما خلق من شر غاسق إذا وقب ومن شر النفاثات في العقد ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس. والله يعصمك من الناس والله يعصمك من الناس والله يعصمك من الناس. Thank you so very much. Khalifa, I would not mind you. Jazakillah wa iyaki Kulthum Auntie, and the rest of you, inshallah, we'll meet tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.